Hey, check this out. This is my Nintendo Switch. If you have one, I'd wager that it looks pretty similar to this. And this is the Switch 2. Now, I may be wrong here, but I think that these look nearly exactly the same. We've been using the Switch UI for nearly 10 years now. And right when we were at the precipice of finally getting something new, we get a white bar and a deeper blue for the text. We can fix that. Psst, also stick around to the end for a fun surprise. I don't think you'll want to miss it. When it comes down to it, this does work, but looking at everything holistically, there are definitely ways to simplify and segment this to make things overall more visually interesting. In UX design, one of their philosophies is that people will look at the top first and then work their way down. It's like reading a book. So for our first big swing, we're completely getting rid of all these icons and consolidating them into 5 big, simple buttons at the top. How can I do this? Here, let me show you. I think it's not only possible, but easy to group these together. Game chat and game share, those are both ways to connect with people. Oh, both of these have settings in the name? Just combine them into one thing there. News, NSO, and the eSHOP? You mean places where people buy things? Sure, why not? It also works to get rid of that ugly ass icon, something that completely destroys any unity that may have come from the existing UI to begin with. Genuinely, this is the most mad I've been at a button in a long time. And I guarantee that you're only in that app to buy fun icons and such, so I'm sure it's fine. And for those wondering about parental controls, I'm sure if we just push it aside and make it more of like an indicator for the user, I'm sure it'll be fine. And it clears up the space rather nicely. Oh, and then there's the album. Yeah, you get your own menu, you're perfect just the way you are. With all that there, we've already reduced the clutter on screen by half. Add in horizontal bars to frame everything, and boom! It's already feeling like something new. Let's go through each of these menus one by one, because I didn't just design this single screen, I have 4 others that have been overhauled. But when you boot up the console, you land on the home menu. A key tenet of this project was to direct attention towards one singular task while leaving breadcrumbs for those who want to do other stuff. Functionality, if you will. You see this a lot in mobile games where different menus are shown with an icon, and that's really what I'm tapping into with this one. The reason I bring this up is because on the home screen, your sole focus should be getting into the games. Now, at a glance, this looks pretty similar. However, things start to really open up when you start thinking about what you want to play. Honestly, I just find this really satisfying. That's not all though. Remember when we cut the bottom row? I actually forgot one of those menus, that being the virtual game cards. Nintendo seems to be going all out with these, and thus I had to put a button for it. But since it's not the most important thing on screen, I put it in the bottom right next to the power button. But unlike how it works on the previous Switch, it doesn't open up a completely new screen. Instead, the menus are now seamless, and going back and forth is as easy as just pressing the same button. In addition, folders are now easily accessible as opposed to being tucked away in the back of a menu within a menu. They can be assigned names, icons, and can display up to 3 games at once, with more of them being seen in the folder itself. And for those wondering, yes, you can access the virtual game cards menu from the folders menu and vice versa. I thought it was a small bit of functionality that elevated the experience. Tapping the R button on your controller, pressing the C button, or clicking on it with the Joy-Con 2 mouse brings you to the Connect menu. As stated previously, Game Chat and Game Share are 2 sides of the same coin, thus mashing them together into one screen isn't completely out of the realm of possibility. Fun little tidbit for those watching way after this initially releases, I'd actually been working on this for about a month before the Switch 2 released, so for this menu specifically, I had nothing to go off of. For all I know, these menus might look completely different from what they end up being. Oh. Well, in any case, something I thought would be fun is to put a live update of who in your friends list is online and what they're playing. And in this tab as well, you can invite people to game chat or game share sessions if the software is compatible. I think dividing the Connect menu down the middle is the optimal play here, but considering that game share is just, hey, join a session, adding voice and video settings to symmetrize things I thought was the best call here. And while we're talking about people playing games, let's look at the user profiles up top. This functionally acts the same, but with some very apparent visual changes. For one, it's now a pop-up. That goes back to the whole seamless thing I was referring to earlier. You've probably noticed how pop-up menus already work in this project already, but for all intents and purposes, this is the big kahuna of them. Everything has been streamlined on this. Something that has always annoyed me is that I have to scroll all the way back up to the top of these long menus just to see my friend code and such, and that's now always there on the right-hand side. The Add Friend and Friend Suggestion tabs have been eaten by the Friends List tab and are easily accessible with a single button press. The Online Play invites Insights tab has been retired in favor of Game Chat and has been replaced by Play Activity, which is now at the very top of the heap. Moving on from that though, the next proper menu to take a look at is the eShop. Finally, with the red color scheme for the whole menu, with the Switch Online icon actually fits in. The news icon has also been contained in the bottom right corner. Those buttons are menu sensitive, which keeps things fresh while also saying, hey, these aren't insanely important, but if you do want to check this out, we'll take you to another submenu. And before people start saying, oh, why did you move the news at all? Name the last time you used that button. It's all on Twitter anyhow. Follow me on bluesky@toxicwood.com. Same goes with NSO, but I've already touched on that. You just wanted that wiggler icon, didn't ya? Other than that, navigation is nearly identical, but we kept the tall rectangle shape from the home menu as that ties things between the two very nicely. The album menu is nearly a one-to-one recreation, now with a blue coat of paint. Same with the other menus, there are a few buttons in the corner, namely the batch selection, filter, and share tools. They work exactly as you suspect. Wow, we are already at the settings menu. Let's just blast through all of these here because I just want to show you the thing at the very end because I think that's really cool. For one, controller settings are now the landing page of the settings menu, which means that if there's any issues with them, say like for Smash Bros or Mario Kart, it's as easy as 1, 2, 3. Some groups have also been reorganized, like having the commonly needed stuff like brightness, internet, and Bluetooth all be smushed together in one area, system settings in another, and customation in a third. Oh hey, what's that? Themes are finally here and are functionally just the exact same as they were back on the 3DS. That being just new backdrops. This project doesn't have any music aside from the eShop theme, but with something like this, already things are starting to shape up. Each menu has its own song and are faded seamlessly with one another, so there should be no awkward stopping or pausing. Depending on the amount of effort that they want to spend on stuff like this, they can add stuff like new button textures, colors, patterns, etc. I will not be mocking those up today though. Overall, themes bring a lot of charm and whimsy to the table, and I like to think of them less like themes as a proprietary thing and more like wallpapers. I mean, everyone and their mother has a custom phone, tablet, or desktop wallpaper. I think it brings customizability and personality to each individual system. However, if these were bundled with the actual Switch 2, I think it would be packaged with just solid colors, one static pattern, and then the animated backdrop used in like Nintendo Directs. I think already that's a really good starting point for if they wanted to start charging for game-specific wallpapers. Alternatively, this is less of a cool menu design side of things and more of a game design tangent, but I think it'd be really cool for if you beat or 100% a game on the Switch 2 that they actually award you with a theme for that game. It gives extrinsic incentive for playing games to the end and acts almost like a pseudo achievement system, even if that would mean that there's only really one trophy. I don't know, I think that might be a little too far-fetched. What do you think? You are very helpful. In any case, this is not a perfect menu. Hell, it might not even be something that you even like. My mentality for this project was that it was more of a refresh and reformat of designs that already work given new context. I'd love to hear what I did right or wrong. However, before you type that comment, why don't you play it for yourself? Surprise, this experience is now free on itch. You can play this on your browser today. You could use all of its features using just a mouse. I don't really have controller support up yet because this is my first Godot project and I have no idea what I'm doing. Go check it out. Let me know what you think of it. Now, if you'd excuse me, it's time to play as the duck in Mario Kart World. Shit!